Hey guys, it's John and Jackie of OpenLove101.com. Thanks for joining us today. Please subscribe here to our YouTube channel. Click on the blue bell and we'll notify you of any upcoming videos. We got an email recently from someone that's part of a couple, and they asked us if they're fantasizing about someone else when they're having sex, is that being unfaithful to their partner? Right? And Jackie and I in other videos and blogs have talked about the importance of fantasies. First of all, having and sharing and talking about your fantasies with your partner, it really can take some courage if it's something that's a little out there maybe. And it takes an empathetic partner, a very loving partner, to listen and be loving about it in return. I know really Jackie is the first person that I've been in a relationship with where I've been able to share fantasies or shared experiences that I had when I was younger. That maybe those things that we're afraid to tell somebody, and she was always really loving and accepting of anything that I've shared with her, and I think vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you already have kind of your own stigma against your own fantasies, being able to be in a relationship where you can be free from that stigma, like where you can just be honest about, what those fantasies are. I know for me as a woman, I mean, I had fantasies, but I wasn't going to tell you what my fantasy was because that was going to get me in trouble. My own view of myself, if I released those fantasies out into the open, I already had a harsh view of myself with that. I wasn't going to have that opportunity for you to do the same thing. So what I've learned with being able to get in touch with those fantasies from like a loving standpoint has really grown my own self view about my sexuality. It's funny, you wouldn't think that would be the case because it's a fantasy. It's not something that's true that's happening, but yet it has a really powerful impact on how you view yourself when you have the freedom to be honest. And that is another great thing about fantasies, is they get to stay in this wonderful realm of kind of make believe. But if you've got a partner that's going to, play along with those things, it can take you to places in your sexuality with your partner that you just didn't even know you could go. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is.
So, but it's great.
And where do you think that stems from as a woman? If you fantasize about something, where does that shame stem from? Where does that negative feeling come from? Like, I shouldn't be thinking this way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't speak for all women, but I know for me, I grew up in with a file of religion, right? So there was this kind of mentality that, even if I was thinking things, I was creating an atmosphere that was going to be a detriment to myself. And in addition to that, as a woman, I'm supposed to be kind of this, have this virginal mentality about myself, right? Because we're...
That's a fantasy in itself.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be viewing myself in a certain way from, even from a societal standpoint. So to just be open about that, it wasn't something that I felt like, at least in the generation that I grew up in, that it was something that I could really embrace. So it was just like even more than a fantasy. It was like harboring a secret, but it wasn't to my benefit, right? It was to my detriment because I didn't have really very positive views about it. Like I wanted to have positive views about it, but I couldn't for whatever reason.
And then what changed? Today you do.
Today I do, and it was an interesting trip to that. I had to give myself permission, first of all, to even be able to tell you what some of them were. I mean, a couple of times I was super embarrassed about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I'm telling you this. I'm some kind of weird freak. I mean, there's something wrong with me because, if I was really this image of myself that I was supposed to be, I would never even be thinking about this. So for you to take my fantasies and just be like, oh, that is so awesome. It was like an affirmation to it, which then gave me more courage to be more open about it. And then to just, it's so funny when you think about those times that you're rigid, it's exhausting. Your muscles are tight. Your breathing is different. Everything is really taut. And if you can give yourself permission to just relax, just kind of that meditative state where everything eases away and those muscles loosen and the breathing becomes, much more controlled, and you can just kind of let go into it. To me, that was what happened when I was able to kind of reveal those fantasies. I went from this rigidity to just fluid, and it was so nice.
It is, and it has, in those times, we've had great sexual experiences.
Great.
And we've talked to other couples that have as well. It's just really important the couple works together to be loving and listening to your partner's fantasies and encourage it, maybe role play, do it together. One of the most common fantasies women have, and I'm telling you this because sometimes a partner might feel like if that's your fantasy, that's what you're going to do. And not all fantasies are like that. Now, maybe having a fantasy with another guy to have a threesome. So that's one that Jackie had and we've done. But most of our fantasies aren't things that we would do. And the thing about fantasies that really shows that is a lot of women have rape fantasies. Right. Well, women don't really want to be raped, but they have these fantasies because it's something outside of the box. And if that enhances sex with your partner to have those kind of fantasies occasionally, then why wouldn't you? Why would you as a partner care? If you're thinking about another man and you and I are having sex and our sex is great, and I mean, it's great for me, it's great for you, why would I want you to stop thinking that? And they even could. I mean, how am I going to control what she thinks?
Right. Yeah, it's about making sure that you remember that we're talking about a fantasy here. If you're fantasizing about having sex with a redhead, for instance, that doesn't mean that I need to go out and be a redhead. It's
no. And if your fantasy is to be with a guy that you can run your fingers through his hair, I mean, I could be like, my feelings are hurt. You don't like me because I don't have a full head of hair.
Right. We can take it super personal, right?
But the way I see it is, if it gives her more satisfaction and really turns her on and enhances our sex, why would I care? That's what she's fantasizing about in that moment.
Yeah.
And then back to our original question, is it cheating? We don't think so. We don't think you're being unfaithful to be thinking about those things. We're human sexual beings, and we have thoughts about sex. I mean, I have had thoughts about sex all my life. And to expect to be able to shut my brain off and to not have any more thoughts about different types of sex really, to me, seems pretty ludicrous and impossible.
Right.
And I don't have control over your thoughts. Right. And I think if I were to try and exert some kind of control over my partner and what she's thinking, it's probably not going to last very long.
Right.
Really important to keep that in mind. So your fantasies definitely can enhance your sex life. They can be a stepping stone to trying new things sexually with other people.
Right.
As well. And it should be a safe space to do it in.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to us today. Please sign up for our email list once again at openlove101.com. Check out our videos here on YouTube. Hit the blue bell to be notified of new ones. See ya. You want to see more of this? Then subscribe on that.